Hey everybody, welcome to the second video of our Factory Reset chat podcast, whatever you want to call it. In the first video, I feel like I went a little bit fast and I actually didn't explain where we got the name of the Factory Reset, why we're calling it that. And with everything that we deal with, living in the way that we do, corporate lives, our society, you know, families, just dealing with work and all of that stuff, you absorb a lot of not only kind of like toxic habits and just crap in your life all the time, that it sways you away from healthier lifestyles, sways you away from discipline, sways you away from, you know, just all of the things that we want in our lives to actually better ourselves, to feel better. And sometimes when that happens, the only option that you have is to just kind of try to reset yourself to your like factory settings in a way. So it's similar to the way that you would do it like a computer if you were to visit some of those nefarious sites. I'm not saying I do that, but I'm just saying, like, if you did that, if you were one of those people that did that and you had a lot of viruses on your computer, sometimes the only way to get rid of those viruses is to reset the whole computer, like just wipe it all out, start fresh. And when we were kind of coming up with this and when I was kind of thinking about this, it's something that I wanted to do because as coaches in different disciplines, we get a lot of questions that aren't even about our disciplines. You know, like I am a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I've been doing Muay Thai and then doing kickboxing for, you know, over 20 some years. Cassie, your background is?
CrossFit coach, nutrition coach, and played soccer. I actually coached soccer for a teeny tiny bit.
Mm-hmm. And been college soccer and everything. And you run into a lot of problems that not everybody have the resources to manage, right? And we all come from different backgrounds. We had coaches, we had different family atmospheres, things like that. Different people that taught us different things. And you realize that not everybody has the same resource knowledge or had the same tool sets to begin with to navigate a lot of these problems. So we wanted to start making these videos in a way to start educating people not only on just like the disciplines that we do, you know, fitness and nutrition or martial arts, but also, you know, business, finance, relationships. We've been married for going on a little over 15 years now. And I know you're laughing because I probably still got that wrong, didn't I? No, I didn't.
No, it's over 15.
No, it's over 15 years, but just a little bit. And Cass and I are both turning 40 this year. Yep. So we are in our prime. Yeah. Is like, what was that, the Tombstone quote? He's like, I'm in my prime. When Val Kilmer said that. Anyway, that's what I thought of. But yeah, so it's something that we want to keep bringing value to people, to try to help people out in different ways, to kind of just keep answering questions and providing as much as we can. So today's video, this is actually take 2. Now, I'm gonna bring it up because I need to be held to account. I thought I was recording on the other camera and then I wasn't recording, and then it turned out I was actually recording, and I just deleted the recording. So we're going back to it now, and we'll cut that part out. So we're going back to it now, and one of the questions that we get a lot, or actually Cassie gets a lot, is
how do you stay so motivated?
And why do you get that question?
Because you make fun of me.
I do make fun of you, but that's not why you get that question.
No, that's not. I get the question because I record and post my workouts on Instagram and Facebook. Rick makes fun of me.
How often do you post it?
Recording my workouts.
It's like, no, wait. How often do you post it?
I try to record and post every time I work out, which right now is 6 days a week because I have goals before I turn 40. But prior to that, it was anywhere between 4 and 5 times.
You said that like because I have goals.
I
don't have goals. I have goals.
I have goals. I'm not saying you don't have goals, but
I don't have
that's
goals.
why that's why mine right now are 6 days a week. Where honestly, on average, I typically work out anywhere between 4 and 5. Most of the time, it's 5.
And one of the funny things that she says all the time that this is where I make fun of her. Okay, it's not that she works out. Like, let's get that all straight. Let's not get it twisted or anything. Like, I don't make fun of her because she works out, but she works out, and she said that if I don't film it, the workout never happened.
It didn't count.
It didn't count if I don't film it. And it's like, okay, so all the work you just did, if you didn't film it, it does not count. And that's why I make fun of her. But honestly, it's something that I admire a lot about her, because even when she is tired, she's exhausted, like I mentioned, we're both getting to be 40. We have 2 kids. We both came from corporate jobs, and it's not always easy to get out there and work out. And sometimes I remember you saying, I just have to move. I just have to move. Mm-hmm. And even when you're having like a rough day, you're tired, I would come home from the gym at times, and she would have gotten off of work, kids would be fed, kids would be in bed, and it would be 8 o'clock at night, and I just got done teaching at the gym or running a business, and I come home and she's working out in the garage. So it's something that I can definitely see why you get the questions of how do you stay motivated, because it's something that it's not common, I guess.
And so my answer to that is not every day am I motivated by any means, but
no, that would be my answer to that.
But I love how I feel when I get done working out. So for me, it's more of a discipline and a habit that I've created that I enjoy, and I like the outcome of what I get from that. We'll go from the Legally Blonde. Endorphins make you happy.
You can't kill people when you're happy.
But I do. I feel so much better. And on the days that I give in to the I don't want to, or I don't have the motivation. Sometimes I will feel my attitude or my short fuse the next day is even shorter, and that makes me feel worse. So I know that if I move, whether it's going full,
it's like a mental health regulation kind
of. That I feel better, and I am better. I'm better for you. I'm better for the boys. So my motivation's not always there. But when I have my motivation, those are the days that my intensity is through the roof. But on the days that I don't have the motivation, I rely on the discipline and the habits and the non-negotiables that I've set for myself to do the bare minimum.
Yeah, and it's something that I used to see this meme going on, and it said that if all you can give is 20% and you give 20%, then you gave 100%. Because that's all you have.
You gave it all.
Right. So if an individual's starting out new and you haven't built that, so there's one thing that we have kind of an advantage on is
I'm doing it for a long time.
We've been doing it for so long, and we had coaches that if it wasn't a negotiable for me, but it wasn't because I made it a non-negotiable to train and work out as much. It was because if I didn't, my coach was going to make it more miserable, or all of my teammates were going to talk a bunch of crap, and you grew up the same way in a lot of ways, right?
Well, I grew up a little bit different, so that's probably why my discipline or my motivation is a little bit different. I grew up with if you want it, you work for it. So I wanted to play college ball. That was my dream, college soccer. And my dad told me that if I wanted that I needed to make myself stand out against everybody else. So all through high school, I got up at 5 a.m. and I went to Define Fitness and I lifted weights, and then I went to school and I did my schoolwork, and then after school I went to soccer practice and I did soccer practice, and I'd come home and I'd do my homework, and then I'd go out in the backyard and I'd drill drills because that was what I wanted. So I grew up a little bit different in the sense of I was taught that if you want it, you work hard and you go get it.
Yeah. And that kind of translated into more or less where you're at now.
Yeah.
But if somebody were to try to develop that now, or if you were to go back and try to develop that now, what would you do different, or how would you develop that for the first time?
The biggest thing that I tell people is you just have to find something that you can commit to. So if committing to going, so a lot of us, right, we don't have the motivation to go out into our garage and do a hard workout. So we find a gym or we find a class that we like.
I will say that's me. That's me in general.
That's finding your commitment, right? I'm going to commit that I'm going to go to that class. And maybe for you specifically, when you're first starting out, it's like, you know what, I'm going to commit to 3 days, and it's going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And sometimes when I was coaching, I would have athletes say, hey, I'm having a really hard time. Can you hold me accountable? Like, if you don't see me in class, will you message me and be like, why aren't you in class? And I would do that for those people.
And a lot of people shit on that. And I've heard a lot of people say that you shouldn't need that. But the problem is that we had that.
Yeah. So
and that's what created us. We had coaches that did that.
Yeah. When you're first starting, there's nothing wrong with asking for an accountability partner, whether it's your coach, your spouse, a best friend, a teammate, a brother or sister, whatever, right? There's nothing wrong with that. That helps you. But,
it's your environment.
You have to commit. You personally, you have to commit to whatever that's going to be. So if it's 3 days a week, like, you make sure you get your butt to the gym those 3 days that week.
And make sure you write it down.
And after
if you don't record it, you're like, well, I'm just going to hit it 3 days this week.
That's why I record my workouts.
But if you just hit it 3 days a week and you say, I'm going to hit it 3 days this week. Well, what 3 days? Is it going to be Monday and Wednesday and Friday? Is it going to be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday? Like, how are you going to do it? But the people who don't record it, all of a sudden they get to Wednesday and they haven't hit one. And then you have to crunch everything into the end, and maybe you don't, and then maybe you fail. So you have to, what gets measured gets achieved. What you record and how you set yourself goals when you write them down is incredibly important on how successful you're going to be with that.
I'll take a page out of my sister's book. She will write down on a Post-it note everything that she needs to do that day for work, even if it's like the tiniest, dumbest thing, and she will cross it off, because she feels like she's getting things done. She does that with her crocheting projects as well. So that's something that is super simple. Like, make a checklist and make it silly. Like, brush my teeth, eat breakfast, go to the gym, take a shower, and check all those off. But when you can physically see yourself check those off, you start to create habits that you are now just going to start doing.
Well, one thing that's kind of funny with that is sometimes I'll actually write things on there that I've already done, or I know is going to take me about 2 seconds, just so I can check it off.
Check it off.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It makes you feel good. You accomplish those.
Yeah,
right?
You get a little dopamine hit.
It doesn't matter.
It's just like sneaking dopamine hits.
It's
like, hey, I brush my teeth. Check.
But that's what we need, right? We need to be able to check things off to make us feel like we're making progress. Instead, like, we sit here and we build these huge goals, and we can't ever cross that off. And so instead of being excited to reach that goal, now we're like, fuck, I still haven't hit that goal. And now we're mad and we don't even want to anymore.
Or you don't give yourself the milestones for the goal.
Yeah. So if you start small, check those off. When your motivation's not there, your discipline and your habits are already there. And so you do it anyway.
So if you have a goal to lose 15 pounds, you don't say, I have a goal. You don't write down, once I get to 15 pounds, check.
Yeah.
It's you check it here. Here's 14 pounds, check. Here's 13 pounds, check. Here's 12 pounds, check. Like, you give yourself little milestones that you hit because it keeps the momentum building.
Yeah.
And that's what builds the habit.
So in the programming that I follow Street Parking. They have...
For those who don't know, that's kind of like CrossFit.
It is. It's a CrossFit. It's
just an online version.
Tailored for you to do in your gym. Or in your garage, at home. But they have little coloring sheets that they print out, that you can print out. And people will color in the days. So like June, it'll be the word June.
That's a good idea.
And it's all numbered. And they will color in the days that they worked out. And so at the end of that month, they can see how much progress they made in that month. And we're not expected to color in every single day.
Do you think a lot of people do that? Do a lot of people use it?
Yeah.
It's interesting. I would have never thought like the tactile coloring in would actually create but it makes sense because you
can see the days that you've worked out. You can see the progress that you've made, and you can put month to month next to each other, and you can say, well, in June, I committed to 3 days a week, and you can see how much color there is. And in July, I committed to 4, and you can see how much more color is in July versus June. It's a good visual aid.
That is good. And then going back to you, so you work out, and I'm asking you like I don't know, but you work out in our garage. We set up a gym in our garage, and we might fill some of the other chats and some of the other things in there. It might not always be in here, but we have free weights. We have a cage. We have not like a fight cage for all you fighters out there. It's like a squat rack, cage, right? The squat rack, we have barbells, we have bikes and rowers and stuff like that. So it's decked out, right, for what you use it for, and for what I use it for. But one thing that I find that is really, really difficult for me is I'll go out there and I will just be so unmotivated, because like how you were talking about earlier, we get our motivation from different places, and it's not necessarily like you should rely on motivation. But motivation helps. It's something that will make a difference for you, and it's if you're motivated for a goal, that is a good thing, and it's motivated. You have to have the habits around it. You have to build the habits, you stay consistent towards it, and build the milestones and everything like that. But motivation does help, and I find that when I go to the gym, it was a struggle for me in the garage gym. It was a struggle for me because I didn't have people working out around me. I go to the weightlifting gym that I go to, and I would go there feeling kind of unmotivated, but then I would see the guy next to me hitting like 2 or 3 plates on the barbell. And I'm like, fuck, I'm going to do that. And then you just start going. And it's the same thing with martial arts, right? It's like you're tired, but then you get there and you see everybody else training and going hard and trying to fight each other and like having fun with it. And you feed off the energy. You're a unique individual where you don't need to feed off that energy.
I'm not unique.
I think in that way you are
So I have had to grow mentally a lot for this. I used to be very much the person that if I didn't belong to a gym, whether it was Define, whether it was Planet Fitness, the CrossFit gym that I went to, if I didn't belong to a gym, I didn't work out.
I feel like there's stages to that too, because it's like you can belong to Define Fitness, but like if you go into Define Fitness or you go into any of the fitness gyms, even my weightlifting gym, it's not a Define Fitness, it's just a powerlifting gym. It's an odd culture because everybody's got their headphones in, everybody's pretending like everybody else doesn't exist. But you're all in the same space. It's like if you ever go into like a preschooler's classroom or even younger than that, they're all playing by themselves because they don't have the social skills yet to like interact with everybody else. And like I had to actually learn that the hard way because I thought there was something socially wrong with our first son. Because I'm like, he's like 2 years old and he just doesn't want to play with any other kids. And I'm like, well, they're not puppies. like they have to develop the social skills and they have to like be out there. So like I talked to an actual individual who ran a daycare and they're like, no, that's how all kids are at that age. It's like they'll play next to each other, but they don't actually play with each other. And that's kind of the dynamic. But you go to like a fitness gym and everybody's playing next to each other, but they're all pretending that everybody else doesn't exist.
But it didn't matter. I was paying for it, so I would go.
No, but I'm saying
that was like my motivation, my commitment, and I had to grow a lot. And I also had a lot of life happen that changed my mindset into. COVID happened, so I started working out in the garage, and then after that, we had both of our kids, so my time was very limited. And so being able to hop out into the garage at 8, 9 p.m. while they're upstairs sleeping, or at 5 a.m. while they're upstairs sleeping, and hit a quick 30 minutes. Sometimes I would only hit like a 10-minute workout, but my intensity was so through the roof.
You were sprinting for 10 minutes essentially.
Yeah.
In a workout of some kind.
That I've changed my mindset about. I don't need to be in a gym for an hour working straight for that hour to feel like I accomplished. I need to get out. I need to go sweat. I need to feel good, and then I'm done. And being able to go out into the garage and do that now is huge for me because I don't have to rely on a class time or I got out of work late and I missed that class and so now I don't have anything to do or type of situation. But that was my life. That was our life.
What I'm getting at with the with the dynamics of like all of the kids at the fitness gym don't play together is sometimes people need different energies. For me, I can go work out on my own in a place where nobody's interacting, but I can see people working out, and that's enough for me. But then there's other people, like when you went to CrossFit, that's not at all what the dynamic of CrossFit was. CrossFit, like everybody's working out, but they're not ignoring each other. They're competing with each other.
We're watching where you're at so that I can make sure that I'm either staying ahead of you or I can call you out later with, you didn't do all of your reps, you're cheating.
Yeah, right? So
but we're always watching. Yeah.
Everybody was watching each other, but then you had
with each other.
But you had interactions before, you had interactions afterwards. I'm sure there was like probably not the same as a fight school, but there was probably a fair amount of shit talking in between.
Absolutely.
Yeah? Okay. Well, in fight schools that's like pretty much 75% of all we do is talk shit, and the other 25% is fighting each other. But at least for some of us. But that's how, like, some people need that energy. Some people need to have somebody to compete against or somebody to feed their energy. Other people like you can be a hermit in the garage and work out on your own and just...
Oh no, I'm still competing against other people.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of us that post our workouts and we'll message each other. What was your time? What weight did you use?
But it's kind of like nice messaging. Like, well, what did you do? It was just like, ha! You a bitch.
I mean, it is definitely much nicer than what you guys banter in the gym with. But we're still competitive. There's still times, and we'll still screenshot each other's workouts and stuff like that because we'll be like, oh, that looks fun. I want to do that. And he thinks I'm crazy when I say that because it's not his kind of fun. But I
don't think you're crazy for screenshotting
No,
things.
You're crazy.
I think you're crazy for loving a 10-minute or a 20-minute, like, to the death sprint workout. like it's like I come home
from the one that goes and does a 6-minute to the death roll with.
Yeah, but
no,
listen,
they're the same.
No, it's not.
It's just that's your fun and this is my fun, and that's where it comes.
Okay, there is my fun and then there is wrong. anyway,
let's
circling back to motivation on this. When you're trying to stay motivated, especially when you're first starting out, coming back to it, it's you have to find the environment that's going to make you successful. You have to find the energy, the place. That's why it's always good to, if you're looking for a gym, find the gym that works the best for you. Find the gym that has a really good culture. Find the gym that, and if your kind of a gym is to go to a place where everybody's got headphones on and nobody talks to each other and you're the little kids in the daycare, that's perfectly fine. But find what works for you, but make it I think you said it, where you have a non-negotiable. Like you are going to move, how many days a week?
My non-negotiable right now is 6 days a week.
Okay, you're one way or another.
One way or another. It doesn't matter if I just go out there and do burpees for 5 minutes and I don't even care
doesn't sound fun.
How many burpees. I don't even care how many burpees I get. It's just I went and I moved for 5 minutes because that's all I had in me that day. But my non-negotiable is 6 days a week right now.
Yeah, but even on the days that you don't, like your rest days, you still go out walking. You still go out hiking, like we still walk the dog. We'll go still swimming with the boys.
Yeah.
Like you still have activities that you keep active. It's not like you go from up here to nothing all day and then back up to here. You know?
After I hit my goal that I have set for myself right now, I'll probably taper back into non-negotiable is 4 days a week, but realistically I would like to hit 5. Okay,
so you have non-negotiable. Why is that a hard word to say? Mm-hmm. You have non-negotiable things that you have to hit every single week, and you mark them down. And you have specific goals. You have specific milestones, and it makes it so where you can sustain good momentum. Mm-hmm. And there was a book that I can't remember which one of us told the other one about. For the sake of argument, I'm going to say I told you about it. But it was Atomic Habits. And
I'm pretty sure I read that first, but yeah. Okay. Anywho, Atomic Habits.
I read it first. Anyway, but there was one thing. It was Atomic Habits, I believe, by James Clear. It was one of the things that he mentioned in that I always found to be extremely helpful is what's called habit stacking. So if you're trying to build consistency in something, if you're trying to build, which you want to build consistency over motivation anytime you can, right? We all have wired habits that we already have. So maybe it's like, your habit is first thing you do when you wake up in the morning is you take a shower and brush your teeth. All right. For me, it's I wake up, I drink water, or actually, no, what's funny is I wake up and I would get coffee. That would be the first thing, or like an energy drink or something like. I would get caffeine right away. And then I read somewhere that was just like, no, don't do that. I think it was a Huberman podcast, or I don't think I read it actually. I think I listened to it. It was a Huberman podcast, and it was the cortisol in your body and your body's system for waking up actually requires hydration and salt in the morning. So electrolytes in the morning that would help you. And I knew that I'm never going to remember that. But I already wired in my brain that I remember to get coffee the first thing in the morning. So I would put my water bottle with the electrolytes in the same area that I would know that I was going to go get a coffee or whatever. And I'd be like, oh yeah, I have to do that first. Salt in the water, you drink the water, you wait a little bit of time, and then you hit the coffee. And it was a way that you could start a new habit and build it off of the habit previous. So it's one thing that I hear every now and then, not as much anymore, but I used to hear it a lot in the gym is people would say like, well, I was gonna go to the gym, but when I left for work this morning, I forgot to pack my gym bag. And if I don't pack my gym bag and I don't pack my gear, then I will forget.
And I won't make class.
Yeah, I won't make class. And it's something that I was telling people like, okay, well, pack your gym bag the night before, but put it somewhere next to your shoes. Yeah. Or like find a habit that you can stack with packing your gym bag to make it so you never forget to pack your gym bag. Yep. On the days that you have to. And you had a different one as far as like waking up at 5 a.m. Yeah. Because that's a hard one.
So I, the best hack that I had was I would move, right? We all set our alarms on our phones, and our phones are right on the nightstand right next to our bed. So move it. I would move it to the dresser, and I would set it on top of my gym clothes so that when my alarm went off in the morning, I had to physically get up out of bed to turn it off. And now I'm already up, right? That's like the biggest feat that we need is just to get out of bed. Because now once you're out of bed, you're like, all right, well now I gotta pee. And then your clothes are right there, so you might as well put them on and you might as well just go work out. So you've created the small habits of getting there. So the first problem was I shut my alarm off and I don't want to get up. So we've moved our alarm so that we have to physically get up. And now we're just gonna add on to it. Now it's on top of my gym clothes, and now I get dressed and I go. You've
gotten the activation energy started.
Yeah.
So essentially what that means is that for anybody out there who's ever pushed a car, and it's something I say in the gym a lot too, is if you ever push a car, the first kind of initial steps to get it rolling are the hardest part about pushing a car. Yep. And then once you get a car pushed, and I remember this because I used to have a truck that had a clutch and a manual. And I had these clutch problems where I would have to like push start it. And then so you'd like push and you get it running, and then you jump in and put it in third and dump the clutch, and it would start the car, right? Start the truck. And you laugh because I know you've had to do that too. Yep. Yeah, when you were younger, you had a little Toyota car that was a stick shift.
Yep.
And jump in and dump the clutch and you go. But it's the activation energy that gets it started. So once you start the push, it's extremely hard. And then as the push gets going, as the roll gets going, the momentum kind of builds and it makes it easier to do it. So when you're first getting out of bed and you're going to turn off your alarm, that's essentially getting that momentum going. And then you just stack on that momentum.
Yep.
And then you get into your garage and then you realize that nobody's there and you're not motivated. Right? And that's me. I just go back to bed. But
essentially what we're trying to say is your motivation's not always going to be there, but rely on the habits and the discipline that you've created to carry on when your motivation's not there.
Yeah, and sometimes you get your motivation from different places too. So Cassie gets a lot of her motivation from you make videos, you post all of your workouts, which if you guys haven't followed her on social media and you want to watch her daily workouts, if you don't believe me, you can literally, it's like, it's there every single day. It's like, and if she doesn't miss it, or if she misses it, she's either sick, injured, or
it's Rick's fault.
It's somehow my fault. I'm just trying to think of how. But so that it's always there. So you can always see that there. But one of the things is that she got a lot of individuals messaging her afterwards that would rely on her videos for their own motivation because they'd see Cassie working out and be like, fuck, I need to go work out. Cassie did her workout today. Cassie, and it was something that, like, I used to make fun of her all the time and be like, well, if you didn't record it, it didn't happen. But then you would see how many people it actually affected and how many people she would show me the messages and be like, how many people actually took her messages or saw her videos, be like, now I need to work out. And then they would post their own videos and of them working out. And it was like almost like a shared energy. So that energy would go. And then you have people like me who my energy and my motivation comes from all of the shit I know I'm going to get talked if I don't go and fight those people. And I'm going to go the next day and be like, oh, Rick was ducking me yesterday. Yeah. He's falling behind. He's getting old. Yeah, Edgar. Edgar's one of my biggest sources of information. He's for those who don't know him, he's one of our other kickboxing coaches. And we always roast each other. All the time. Even if we're successful, we roast each other. But then even some of the jiu-jitsu guys, there's just guys who just come in there and just be like, you just can't get out from being roasted. But you're going to do it back. But it's one of those things. It's like, it's constantly your motivation. We actually had a squad that was part of our team. We started a squad for a while and we would all say it. Some of the individuals have moved, but we still chat it to each other, but it was hashtag AMB. And that meant ain't no bitch. So we'd be all on the mat or whatever, we'd be training, and then somebody would be like, all right, last round. And somebody would be like, hey, you want to do another round? A and B. Like, let's do it. Like, you just got to keep doing it. It ain't no bitch. But we would say it to each other all the time. And it was just one of those things. It's just like, do it again. Hashtag A and B. So and we were actually going to get patches put on our gis. And it's like there was like some requirement, like you had to compete or you had to do so many rounds or whatever. I can't remember what it was, but it was hashtag A and B. And that was the thing that would kind of motivate us because we would use each other as like, instead of being inspired by each other, we were insulted and roasted by each other. So it's like, you just got to do it. But so circling back, staying motivated is something that you're going to have to figure out. It's another one of those questions that we're going to answer with no answer, right? It's like you have to figure out what's the best way that works for you, but you have to have your foundations. You have to have your non-negotiables. You have to be able to figure out what you can commit to. Mm-hmm. And based on those things, build off of it. Yep. Right? Find your energies, find your people, find your ecosystem that you want to, and then set up all your habits around that to make that successful. Write down all your goals.
Grow and thrive in your ecosystem.
Yeah, grow and thrive in your ecosystem.
That's what it's there for.
Yeah,
it's to help you grow and it's to help you thrive, whatever that might be.
And reach out to people if you need help. If you need somebody to hold you accountable or whatever, just reach out to them. See what you need to have happen to make yourself successful. Right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this on this one, and so we will see you guys in the next one. Remember to follow, share, and all the other stuff that everybody tells you to do. But we'll do our best to keep providing some cool stuff and maybe helping you guys as much as we can. So until the next one, we'll see you there.